All right. Good morning to you, everybody. Mark Sudduth here. I got CJ Morgan. We'll pull him in. Welcome to
Morning.
Talking Weather. So, CJ, I've got to figure out how to see myself. Let's see. Multi-speaker. Nope. Gallery. Nope. Um, Speaker. I just see you. Where am I?
I see you. I see me. I don't know what the difference is here. It's the world of Zoom that none of us have really ever mastered and people
Right.
just put up
We've
with.
had 5 years, and at least we're next to each other on the program. Well, now we're gone, but let's see.
Close.
Let's see, gallery. I don't know, whatever. Well, welcome to Talking Weather. Technical me not figuring out what the heck's going on, notwithstanding. It's good to see everybody. I don't see myself, so that's just very strange. So CJ, we're back again. It's Tech Tuesday. We got a good one for today. We're also going to go over, I'll share the screen and show everybody the menu for today, the topics. Cold in the East, it is. I'm sick and tired of it. As our other people have been hearing from a lot of different people about this. Scott texted me. Let me read what he said. I don't think he'll mind if I share this. Scott said, and it was a good one. Bear with me. Um, it's only December 8th, and I'm kind of done with feeling cold in South Carolina. Cold should be a
Mm.
thing that you and I go visit for a while and then leave.
Yeah, I did that, Scott. And quite frankly, I'm glad to be back in West Central Florida where I belong
Right,
for that
right.
reason.
So we'll talk about the cold in the east and so forth. And then, man, I'm telling you, CJ, they're having some problems in the Pacific Northwest. I've got a few posts I can show you related to that. Big time record rain flooding with that atmospheric river that's just drenching the area with a lot of rain at the lower elevations and just insane amounts of snow up in the Cascades. Rainier, 110 inches forecast. I mean, that's a lot of snow. Then on Tech Tuesday, go ahead and tell you what it's going to be about. And this is very timely because CJ and I have been tossing this idea around for a couple of years, and we're going to start doing it in the spring.
Yep.
UAS tornado research, basically studying tornadoes via drone. This is not about us. We'll talk about us a little bit, but this is from NSSL. And I got a great article to show you, and CJ and I will jump into that when we get there. So let's take a look at the weather map for today, this morning, and it's getting more busy, a little bit more patchworky as we see. So we have some winter weather advisories in the Carolinas, up here in Pennsylvania. Winter storm watch. It's pretty good if you can finally remember what all these colors are. Winter storm watch there for parts of the lakes. Let's use a
Yep.
different.
That's all going to be lake effect snow up through
Yeah,
there. And then you got
yeah.
another Alberta Clipper system coming down out of the upper Midwest.
Just one after the other with these clippers, isn't it? And it's just
Yeah, that's very typical for the early part of the winter months, especially for the upper Great Lakes and the upper or the Great Lakes region in the upper Midwest. So nothing out of the ordinary. It's actually been fairly quiet, Mark, even though we've been in a stormier pattern in the east.
right.
Overall, it's been rather
Right.
tame.
Right. No blockbuster big time events that
Mm-mm.
have everybody talking about it. Like I say, it's nothing that has really tripped the algorithm. I'm very curious as to why we have this blue color way up here. So I'm going to click on it and it says avalanche warning. Oh, wow. Okay.
Interesting. I don't think I ever recall actually seeing that.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Avalanche warning, high snow levels out there. So the avalanche warning are in parts of Idaho and Montana. The risk out there
Hmm.
for rock and mudslides, heavy wet mountain snow above 7 to 8,000 feet. So that's what that blue is.
Yikes.
Avalanche warnings here in parts of, um, well, let's see, it's not on this one, so that's weird. Shows up there. Anyway, lots of wind with these clippers coming through. So that's why
Yep.
all this brown is through here are your wind advisories and so forth. And then in the Pacific Northwest, they are really having a time of it with tremendous amounts of moisture coming in from that atmospheric river. And we can see that on the satellite animation this morning. There it is, coming right off the Pacific, and that
Yep.
marine modified air, tons of moisture, over 7,000 miles long. Let me see if I can get a better viewpoint of this. Look at the Pacific. There's the U.S., Hawaii. It doesn't really get too much broader, unfortunately. This is a colorized infrared version, just lots and lots of moisture. Great for the overall water tables out there and whatnot, but and look, CJ, you can clearly see this is cool where the ridge of high pressure is just sending
Yep.
everything up and over. So high pressure here, some troughiness over here, and then the storm track is generally across the northern part with
Yep.
occasional fronts reaching down south, but no major storminess just yet. So that's a look at the current situation. It has just been nuts up here, miserably cold,
Yep.
uh, drizzly, kind of breezy.
Ugh.
Kids can't really go out at recess kind of thing, can't go outside during the afternoon. It just sucks.
Yeah,
But
that's the worst weather on the planet. 39 degrees and rain.
I think there is a website, 33andrain.com
Yeah,
or something
something
like
like
that.
that. Yeah.
All right, let's see who all we have on the chat today. Catherine Burkett over in the UK, spooky as well. We got Scott, we got Kathy, another Kathy down in Fernandina Beach. We got Karen and Gummy. We'll just some of these names on YouTube. I don't know, so we'll just call you Gummy. And then we have Weather Scott and Vanda. Is Vanda in Australia or Ohio? That's the question. And the atmospheric river does look bad. No kidding. Now, I do want to get out there one day to the Pacific Northwest, as I'll show you in a couple of posts coming up. There's this dude out there, and his name is Matthew Fab. I think that's how you say it. P-F-A-B. I'm sure the P is silent. Matthew Fab. And he's big into the weather in the Pac Northwest. And we've interacted on social media. He seems like a good dude to link up with. When we get one of those ones where it's like 70, 80, 90 mile an hour wind coming in, one of those bomb
Yep.
cyclones, got to go out there for that to see those gigantic Bob Ross trees, the
Yep.
trees that he paints, the evergreens,
Yep.
just
Just
blowing.
nuts.
I bet those sound from that. And then those huge waves that come in
Yep.
down at that rocky coast. Bucket list item on the weather bucket list.
Absolutely.
Go cover that sometime. But as it stands now, atmospheric river with not a lot of wind, but a lot of moisture to be sure. And on this
Absolutely.
infrared as well, clearly you can see all the cold air pretty much everywhere. Uh,
Yep.
that little oval that pops up right down here in southern Louisiana, right there. That's the warmth from the Gulf and that swamp down there, the Atchafalaya
Yep.
River Basin does its work. All right, so the misery map today, let's refresh this just to see. I'm surprised
Yikes.
that Seattle is mostly green. Like,
Yeah.
what are they doing right? Atlanta, no weather anywhere nearby, but this has just got to be congestion.
That
Uh,
has to be. Yeah.
for Atlanta, delayed 69 flights.
Ugh.
Dallas, not
I
too
am glad I am not flying today, man.
sure. Sure, but I mean the Southeast isn't too bad overall.
No.
Chicago area, 45 delayed, canceled one. But look at SeaTac, only five.
Yeah.
I mean, what? What are they doing up there? We got to learn from
I know.
SeaTac.
It's like you got Delta in Seattle versus Delta in Atlanta
Right,
this morning. God, that is a difference. So if you're flying anywhere in the West Coast on Delta, you should be good. It's even going into LAX, it doesn't seem to
right.
be that bad. But you look at, man, flying up and down the Eastern Seaboard, look at New York City, DC, Atlanta. I
Yeah,
mean,
this corridor through here,
look
all
at Detroit,
gummed up. Yeah, Detroit is, oh yeah, that's the worst one behind the,
DTW. I don't know what is going on with Detroit. I know that they've had some issues with their systems there. Maybe that's still going on. I don't
right.
know. But I can tell you that Delta passengers in and out of the Midwest are probably not enjoying themselves this morning.
Well, that's interesting because DTW is second on the list behind Atlanta, but they're
It's just the sheer numbers. I mean, Atlanta is
color
the
wheel.
busiest airport in the world.
Right, right,
So you think it's the percentage of flights, right?
right,
So,
right.
you know, 10 or however many, what is it, 43 flights in Detroit versus the nearly, is that 80 or is that 69? I can't.
69. These are
Okay,
delayed.
yeah, nearly 70 delays.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a huge difference just looking at, the
True.
size of the airport.
Yeah, but it's just interesting. Sometimes, and lately, it's most of the time, it's not weather related. But
Right.
Detroit, yeah, it looks like on the radar, a little bit of shenanigans around there,
Yeah,
adding to their. Well, let's just look at it real quick on the radar scope.
that's what I
Scooch our
was just doing.
north, see what's
It
happening.
looks
Yep,
like
there's a
their
few.
terminal Doppler is down this morning.
Oh yeah, so that's part of it,
Yeah, it looks like some lake effect snow coming off of Lake Huron
right?
could be obscuring visibilities in Lake Michigan. So that's
Sure.
my guess.
Oh, they had a
There's actually a
squall
pretty
go
nice
through.
squall. Yeah,
Oh, well,
there's
there
a
you
pretty
go.
nice squall there that went through central and eastern Michigan if you just
Woo!
watch the loop.
Yikes. Well, there you go. So it is pretty
Basically
much
a derecho, but lake effect snow.
right. Yeah, we got to come up with a term for that. I don't know. We'll work on it over some Texas Roadhouse this spring. The
Yeah,
greatest ideas or not have come up at Texas Roadhouse. All right. So in Cary, North Carolina, they did have snow last night, yesterday evening, as I ad lib for the Nest Cam to come up. And we need some waiting for the Nest Cam music. Maybe I can program that in someday. Come on, Nest Cam, let's go. My kids all sent me different videos. I'll have to show Mallory's. I should have pulled that up. Hello, let's go, Google. Wake up. Da, da, da. Anyway, there were no accidents. There was not any
that's
accumulation.
good.
And whatever reason, Carrie is not tuning in today. So there's the dead camera. I'm going out there Saturday to replace this one with Mike Farrow and I. And boy, none of the Nest cams are working today. Google, hello, McFly, McGoogle. There we go. Finally, got a little bit of schmutz on the camera lens.
Hey,
That's
but at
what
least
you
it's sunny out there.
right. And look, the tide is up just a little bit. Nothing like we saw over the summer, but
No,
the tide is up a little bit there. And all our other cameras, they are working because it says live, but it's the Nest infrastructure. I guess when you have 2 billion of these cameras out there. Anyway, we'll move along. So let me jump over. I'm going to stop the screen share for a sec so I can pull up my Twitter feed. I do want to show y'all a funny video from my daughter. She didn't know that I was going to quote make her famous. So let me go to me.
hmm,
Like, you got to be careful when you send me stuff. All right, there it is. All right, go back to the screen share. Yeah, this is pretty funny. Share with audio. Yep. Uh, okay. So here's Greenville, North Carolina, from my daughter, Mallory, and her fiance, Cole, at the Food Lion parking lot when it started snowing. Let's roll the tape.
Woohoo! Woohoo!
That
ah,
is the worst woohoo from Cole, my future son-in-law.
Woohoo! Woohoo!
that's how I feel anytime I see snow. So I echo him.
I'm gonna
There
play
are two
that.
types of winter people, Mark. I
Right.
am Cole in this instance.
Woohoo, go away.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm gonna have to revisit that when everybody's down here for Christmas. We're gonna have like 15 people in the house. So there you go. All right, let's look at some of the headlines here. Finally learning all the bookmark stuff on the Twitter, and it's nice. I don't have to have 96 tabs open. I can just bookmark stuff, and generally they are in the order that I want to show them, and then we can just look at things one at a time. So National Weather Service Seattle, really want to underscore this. Big flood problems up there. All these areas in purple, those are rivers and
Yeesh.
streams that are in major flood stage. Yeah, this is going to be a huge problem. I am sure they're covering this on the Fox Weather, and this is just a hard area to cover. You
It
don't just
is.
run out there. Robert Ray could probably pull it off. I could. I bet Coppet could do it if he went out there, but it's a haul. You
It
literally have to
is.
find all your stuff all the way across the country because
Or
Seattle,
drive.
yeah, I mean, yeah, but that's days. Like,
Yep.
it, But anyway, it's pretty bad out there. And here's some video. We'll go back to
Wow.
my bookmarks. This is some video from KOMO, one of their photographers. Yep, photojournalist and drone pilot. Oh, you noticed that? Part 107 pilot for
Hmm.
Como News. But yeah, this is one of the
Nice
rivers.
foreshadowing.
Yep.
Wow, look at that.
So, it's a problem. It really is. So let's look real quick at the national high low. And I got to tell you, CJ, yesterday I shared the high low, whatever, and I had a chat GPT generated map, and
Hmm.
it was terrible. It misspelled Noah. It was like, yeah, it was just a disaster. So today we'll first look at the stats. And this is, of course, from yesterday. 87 in Florida. You guys are the winner again. It was Texas recently. It's going to go back and forth between you guys and Texas. So 87 was the national high yesterday at Miami, Opelika area,
Yep.
and Hollywood. Generally the Southeast Florida area, 87.
Yeah. It doesn't
Minus
surprise me to
23.
see Apalaka on
Right.
there at all.
So here's the map I
Whew.
created, not ChatGPT, 100% Mark Sutter. Not bad. It kind of gives you that
Oh,
90s
yeah.
TV vibe, right?
It does. It gives me that old school analog weather
Right,
channel vibe.
right,
Just need some of that smooth jazz.
right, exactly. So the national high low temps represented here minus 23, way up in Forest Center, Minnesota, and plus 87 down there at Miami, Apopka, Hollywood area. Adrian's weather station and our good friend Javier down there. And you're not far. You're over in Venice. I mean, it had to be in the 80s
It's about,
yesterday for you, right?
yeah, it was, I think we peaked here in the upper 70s, low 80s, but I'll tell you, with that front coming through last night and this morning, it's chilly. It's in the 50s, upper 50s this morning. And we
Really?
might not even make it out of the 60s today. So,
Yikes. What are you going to do? I see you're wearing the hoodie. So there
I'm
you go.
in my hoodie and I'm going to long sleeve t-shirt and I'm going to stay inside most of the
Yeah,
day. But
I got the hoodie. It's
yeah,
just warming up to the 60s here tomorrow. But anyway, that's the national high low stats for yesterday. And what else do we got on the old scroll here for the bookmarks? So yeah, there's Matthew, and again talking about all the flooding. We'll probably add this guy in as a follow Friday at some point, of course. Aspiring meteorologist. Hey, that's awesome. Freelance with Live Storms Media, host of Western
interesting.
Washington Weather, the Triple W, uh, and on YouTube, of course, amateur landscape photographer, very enthusiastic. I've seen some of his videos. Can't wait to meet him in person. We should have him on sometime. In fact,
Absolutely.
what time is it out there? 7:20 in the morning. Again,
Eef.
between him and Bruno. Bruno up there in Alaska, he might even be 4 hours behind up in
Sounds
Annette
about
Island.
right.
So that'd be like anyway, between Tim and
Yikes.
Matthew here, we got to get them on sometime when there's active weather. But anyway, the bottom line, he's also highlighting this flooding situation. And
Yeah,
the water, it'll get you every time. So just making
every
sure
time.
people are aware of it. A big headline. Yeah, again, this is my neck of the woods. Thought I'd show this. Unseasonably cold again today with decreasing clouds, and that's definitely happening now. It's getting brighter outside. But highs will be in the mid 40s again, and then lows tonight in the mid 20s, so around 30. My son Josh, he has club practice, soccer practice. He plays for the
Hmm.
ECNL League, and they got practice tonight up at the soccer park. And I guess that's why he's 15 and I'm 55 because I couldn't do that.
No.
Nope. 3 hours ago from our good friend Ben. This is important in the Hudson Valley, his neck of the woods. Extra caution is advised on roads leading up to and through the afternoon commute tomorrow. So this is some foreshadowing for tomorrow.
Yep.
An approaching cold front will cause a period of wintry weather in the Hudson Valley on Wednesday, particularly after noon, timing, amounts, etc. You guys follow Ben? Sure you do. So just keep up with this if you are going to be in and about that area. Again, more stuff about the Mid Atlantic, real quick. I know our friend Brad traveled up through this region to get to Virginia. or I'm sorry, Pennsylvania. Look at this, CJ.
Yep.
Some of these areas really overdid it, overproduced 8 inches. 8 inches, very common. Boone,
Yep.
North Carolina, 7 inches, the home of App State.
Yep. It is. It's been a snowy past couple of weeks. For the East, especially in the greater Mid Atlantic region. Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Virginia. They've
Right?
all really dealt with this. A big loser here, I would actually say, is Maryland.
Yeah.
Maryland itself really hasn't seen a lot of snow. The big winners here, I would say, would be Western Pennsylvania. That includes the Lake region up in northwestern PA, as well as the greater Pittsburgh region in southwestern Pennsylvania, as well as the Appalachians of West Virginia, Western Virginia, and Eastern Kentucky there, even getting down into North Carolina. I guess I can include you guys in the Mid Atlantic now. Um, why not? But yeah, especially northern North Carolina from the Piedmont Triad over to the Appalachian front there, the Blue Ridge front in Boone. It's definitely been, snowy past couple of days. I'm sure
What?
the ski resorts are great. Or yeah, I know tornado West Virginia. There's a hurricane West Virginia, although they say it hurricane. But yeah, there's a tornado and a hurricane West Virginia, believe it or
How
not.
about that?
Hmm.
7.5 inches of snow. Not
Yeah.
bad at ski resorts. That is really
Nope.
good
Yep.
news for the economy up there.
I'm sure the ski resorts in Elkins are extremely happy with that.
And then finally, we got the Winter's Fury. This was interesting from the Weather Service here in Wilmington about
Mhm.
clippers. These infographics are just wonderful. Here's another one about coastal storms, nor'easters,
Yep.
just really good stuff out there. You can follow these folks on National Weather Service Wilmington on Twitter, Facebook, whatnot. And sometimes my friend Tim Armstrong will do these little video discussions from the WFOs,
Yep.
different meteorologists from the government doing more and more social media videos, which is good. So I already showed that. So we got that. And then there's this. I put this as a standalone because, man, I cannot wait. Bring the red. Bring it. We are definitely a nation divided between red and blue. That's a story for another podcast. But in this situation, I will say bring on more red because that means look at that. When is this? This is December 20th. The lower
It's the week of
atmospheric
Christmas.
temperatures. Oh, that is such a good sign for me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. The entire lower 48 there,
Yep.
if this comes in to pass, will be above average, but then the cold reloads right towards Christmas there with more ready to
Oof.
come out of the prairies of Canada and the Northwest
Yep.
Territories and Alaska and all that good stuff. So just hang on. There will be warm air eventually. All right, the next 7 days, again, CJ, just pretty much the same with northern systems going by one after the other.
Yep.
Plentiful lake effect snows. This is 1 week out. We get
And
rid
I
of
do
the
want to
dust.
highlight
Yeah.
that with these clippers, the way that the flow is set up, this is actually going to be really beneficial lake effect snow for areas that are downwind, meaning on the southeastern shores of Lake Erie and Ontario, especially. This is where areas like Erie and Cleveland and Pittsburgh and Buffalo, as well as areas like Rochester, etc., can see their biggest lake effect snows of the season with the way the winds come down and come out of the north and east behind these systems. And you even see there on the modeling the banding there
Yep.
with that middle band going through portions of Crawford, Venango, Clarion, Jefferson, and into Clearfield counties. Even some of those bands reaching into the northern Pittsburgh suburbs. It's definitely that time of year that you would expect this. But these Alberta Clipper systems, they don't drop a lot of snow. They're mainly just a nuisance, but they usually bring really cold air behind them.
And you can see the upslope flow right
Yep,
here. It clearly,
absolutely. In the ridges.
yeah, you can see the
Hmm.
perturbation of the height
Yep,
lines here, thicknesses. That's pretty
absolutely.
cool.
Yeah, it's part of living on the western side of the Appalachians. You do get that upslope flow. So you're going to see a lot of places, ski resorts like Seven Springs, Nemacolin, all the way down to Elkins, West Virginia, are going to get some of their most beneficial snow this season from these systems.
Interesting that you call it the Appalachians when people have
Mhm.
also heard it Appalachians. Your A's are long.
Depends on which side of the Mason Dixon you grow up on,
Exactly.
usually.
Exactly. So that's out to a week. Again, no big storms over the next week, just these minor nuisance garden variety systems. And in fact, 1 week out, kind of a tranquil-ish weather pattern if this holds, which it should. I mean, 1 week is not too much to ask for reliability from any global model. Again, a
Mm.
few lake snows around the Great Lakes, more moisture in the Pacific Northwest, and a
Look at those
warm,
two sprawling highs.
yes, definitely continental, and this will slide off and finally
Yep.
get some return flow, and we will be in business back to the 60s, I hope. All right, it is time now for Tech Tuesday. Before I introduce it and set it up, a segment that each Tuesday we go over some kind of technology where it might be something that we use, some of our technology in our work, or sort of a 50-50 split, something else in the world of weather. And today's Tech Tuesday, I knew CJ would be excited about this, right up his.
Always.
We're going to talk about this article. My friend Stan Goldenberg from Hurricane Research Division sent this to me yesterday via email. And I was like, oh, that's definitely going to be the Tech Tuesday for this week. It is the use of UAS or or uncrewed aerial, unmanned, uncrewed, whatever systems, UAS, to study tornadoes. What a great idea. You know, we saw the Taurus project really come onto the stage last year from a private group, but this is from the NSSL folks, the National Severe Storms Laboratory. And I'm just going to read this to you, to our audience here, because it is interesting enough that I felt like, yeah, just go ahead and read it, Mark. So, obviously, studying tornadoes, studying them, up close, is the key to improving forecasts and warnings to keep people safe. However, capturing data close to these violent forces of nature is a difficult and dangerous proposition. We know all too well. The
Mm.
NSSL folks, in collaboration with the Cooperative Institute for Severe and High Impact Weather, is harnessing the abilities of the UAS systems to safely gather critical data from the most dangerous and rapidly changing parts of the storm. For decades, and boy, CJ, you and I have literally grown up on this kind of stuff. You think Howie
Yep.
Bluestein and Josh Werman and other people that have come through the NSSL labs to study tornadoes. So, reading on here, for decades, NSSL researchers have relied on a variety of ground based and airborne instruments to probe severe storms and gather data. Mobile radars and mesonets, weather balloons, and actual scientists. I like the way they said that. Actual scientists, not anyway, in the field have played a
Not
central
us.
role in advancing tornado science. Actual scientists, I like that.
Actual
Despite their
scientists.
success and effectiveness, each of these methods comes with limitations. Weather balloons rise and drift, often moving away from areas of interest. Crewed aircraft, as in a crew, not crude like what a crude, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
In the English language, funny like that. It's a
Mm.
crude representation. Anyway, crewed aircraft cannot safely operate near active tornadoes, although those helicopter shots we have seen out of what is it, Channel 9 and OKC
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
elsewhere.
the OKC media market, they each of their television stations at this point, I think, have mastered that.
Sure. So crewed aircraft, it's very difficult near active tornadoes.
Yeah.
Ground-based instruments, while powerful, can only observe so much from a distance. And certainly trying to get anemometers and other things in there, they get destroyed.
Yep.
So UAS platforms will fill a crucial gap by flying these drones basically at lower altitudes than traditional aircraft. They can maneuver into hard to reach and potentially hazardous locations, carrying specialized sensors designed to measure temperature, pressure, humidity, wind speed, and more. Researchers can collect data in the crucial areas of the environment around a tornadic thunderstorm while remaining safe from harm. And it goes
Exactly.
on with more information. Just an incredible
It is.
project. And this is very, very topical because CJ and I were talking about this last season we're already done with severe weather season, so still this year, but last severe weather season, of that I wanted to try to do something with drones and tornadoes, but we really couldn't figure out what it would be and how could we
Right.
transmit it live and whatever. So we've really racked our brains, and I find it very interesting that this article is coming along, and we're going to be doing just this very same thing uh, next spring ourselves. So stay tuned for that. So what are your thoughts on what I
Yeah.
just went over?
I love that for that what is it, that YouTube video that was embedded into that article. The thumbnail there just says drones and twisters. Sounds like something out of science fiction, but honestly, it's basically from the movie Twisters. What they were doing there with that drone that they had in, I love that they actually show it in the video. This
Sorry.
is
Right.
something that really hasn't been tried yet on a large scale. And I like how they're talking about these former technologies. And, you brought up Howie Bluestein and Josh Werman, Dr. Josh Werman. They have, they have literally themselves pushed the science of meteorology forward over the last generation. And now I think, they're acknowledging that our current methods, we're up against a wall. We
Right.
have learned about as much from this technology as we can. And that's just
Right.
because, you can't see the bottom 1,000 feet with even a mobile radar. You
Right.
really can't. And that's where I really do believe personally that this is going to be our next step. I think a lot of drones are going to get crashed into fields in Kansas
Right.
and Oklahoma. But I think it's going to be all part of, actually understanding the atmosphere around these storms. Because, I like how it highlights there, we understand broadly, and I mean broadly,
Right.
the conditions necessary. But really, why does that supercell that we have been chasing across 3 states not produce a tornado? But the little blip down there in, Arnett, for example, puts down a beautiful stovepipe.
Yep.
We
And this
don't know
paragraph,
that.
this is perfect. The minutes and hours leading up to tornado development remain a mystery in many respects, while forecasters and researchers
Yep.
understand the broad scale conditions, as you just said, that favor them. The smaller scale factors that'll determine if, when, and where a storm produces a tornado are far more elusive. And I like how they're going to talk about, for example, researchers are interested in how temperature and moisture vary near
Hmm.
boundaries. And we had that boundary down there at Wellfleet. And if we had
Yep.
only known more about that, I don't know, we were out there for the hail. That's just forever going to haunt me. We're going to get that day back. That's going
We
to,
will. We will get it back.
so this
Um,
drones
and
now, that payloads, and there's a lot that we
yep.
can do with this ourselves, stream it live, drop sensors around. What a world. So what were you going to say? Sorry. This
No,
is
I
very,
was going to say, this is, those types of things that, are becoming better understood. Those, I don't want to say mesoscale, they're more, I guess, mesoscale features like boundaries, et cetera. We know as meteorologists and, people that go out and chase these things, those usually are, out there. They become part of the chessboard, if you would like,
right.
day up. And the more that you understand those innate features, the better you are ish to predict what's going to happen later on in the day.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really where these, and I want to point, uncrewed is the big,
Yeah.
the big, thing there. While we do have storm chasers and other meteorologists that have literally invented cars to drive into tornadoes,
Right.
is Reed Timmer will tell you they're not foolproof. Even his Dominators get windows smashed because those types of conditions, sometimes they're just not survivable.
No, of course.
And the reality is that if you can sit 2 miles away and get a beautiful view, plus do the science, it's the best of both worlds. Like for me, I don't need to be 0 metering in EF5. I
Right.
want to be able to see the structure of the storm,
Sure.
watch the atmosphere do its work
Right.
while collecting what is invaluable scientific data. And I think
it would
that's what
really
the
be,
NSSL is
yes.
really starting to kind of boil down to, is that we understand that we have all of this beautifully advanced technology with these X-band radars, the mobile mesonets, all of it. Now what we need is that final slice of the atmosphere that has been so elusive everywhere from, I'm going to say, above 10 meters to about 1,000 feet.
Yeah.
That is where we are still flying blind. There's your
Right.
pun for today.
And so we'll be able to take those blinders off to expand upon that
Exactly.
fun. And I've talked to Greg Nordstrom about this, arguably one of the best forecasters for severe
Yeah,
weather
agreed.
in the world. And
Hmm.
Mississippi State themselves, a juggernaut in
Yep.
forecasting, and especially their role in broadcast meteorology. And he is totally on board with this. And so we're going to be launching a version of this ourselves, obviously less funding and less personnel than NSSL, but
Right.
our small crew, not walking away from studying hail, but the tornado aspect of it, I wanted there to always be a reason for me to be out there. Now, obviously, with unlimited funds and like you win the lottery or something and you
Yeah.
just chase as a hobby, great. I would do that because it is beautiful. Like that scene behind CJ,
Hmm.
it is gorgeous out there. Unfortunately, these
It
storms
is.
cause death and destruction, and we do
Hmm.
need to learn about them. And so there's so many storm chasers. I didn't want to just be in the way. And so always trying to have a purpose and whatever. And the Hail Project for 2 years, we did our best. It's much more difficult than I thought to find the really big hail, but we're not walking away from it, but going to
No,
sort of pivot and focus some attention on UAS studying of tornadoes. But here's our big like angle on it is we want to do it live.
yep.
And that could be very helpful to the public, emergency management, broadcast community, research, science, whatever, just seeing. And again, we can launch a drone from a couple miles away, and out there
Hmm.
it's a grid system. And on the front row, so to speak, are your 0 meter guys, and they're always going to do that. And it's not for
Of
me to tell
course.
them otherwise. Good
No,
luck.
and they do provide, and I do want to make this abundantly clear. I don't want to hate on the 0 meter people. They do provide invaluable data in the form of video. What people don't realize is that video is data.
Yeah,
You can calculate if you know your trajectories. I believe that's how Hank Schima and a bunch of others actually calculated, what was it, one of the two Pilger sisters
right.
was moving at like 95 miles an hour in forward speed as it roped out and satellited around its former twin there in Nebraska. So there is data to be found in this video, as well as, it helps these people. I know the University of Wisconsin used it a lot in their supercomputer when they were trying to really, calculate. Essentially, they're running these extremely giant models of these storms, and it provides them with the ground truth. Like, am I seeing out in the field what this computer is telling
Right.
me should be there?
Right. But the
And that
front row
helps
is
us dial that
crowded.
in. Yeah,
That's the
that's
problem.
the
And
thing.
I don't want to be stuck down there. It's just not my cup of tea.
Exactly.
I'll,
No.
I'm scared of that. I just like, no way. I'm not getting trapped.
Yeah.
And then that
No,
tornado does
it's
something unexpected and
yep.
the funeral for me in a few days.
Yeah. No, I don't want to
Very macabre, but I'm not going to be a part of
right.
that. So
And
how can
that's
I
not
contribute with CJ, with Greg, with our group, our support?
mhm.
How can we contribute to the social science and meteorology safely? And this UAS thing, you know, that article came
Yep.
along, and it's interesting because right at the same time I told you about the hail idea in 2023, I said, give me a year, we're going to have an armored vehicle and we're going to be studying hail. At the same time, what happened? Project Ice Chip. So it's
Exactly.
like we are on the same page, and I'm not talking to these people and stealing their
Mm-mm.
ideas. We are all thinking the same thing in the
Yep.
world of science. So we've been doing a lot with 360 video, really for the last 5 years. When we started it in 2020, didn't really know what to do with it. It's just a novel thing, which I'm going to show you all something about in a second. Turns out, Clemson University, and they're working with a lot of different agencies around the country, National Hurricane Center. There is a lot of interest in 360 video besides just the cool factor. So all these parallel things that are going on really give me sort of validation that we're on the right path, that we're not going to be out there wasting time, wasting money, and getting in people's way when we could have something to contribute. So we're looking forward to
Exactly.
seeing how this pans out. As we get towards the spring, it'd be nice to get one of their lead scientists on to talk further about it. And also catch up with
Absolutely.
Dr. Sean Waugh and see how his Oppenheimer truck is is ready to go.
Oppenheimer truck.
Yep. And I tell you, there's a great scene from that movie right before they're getting ready to do actually, it's when they press the button and Oppenheimer's got those goggles on. He's
Hmm.
looking through that portal and the light shining through. That is exactly what Dr. Waugh was talking about. You don't want to be
Yep.
behind my truck unless you
No.
look like that guy from Oppenheimer. But yeah, there's a lot of really interesting research going on. And think about what Dr. Waugh is doing, just on a little bit of a tangent. He's using video as
Yep.
data, 300 frames per second. He wrote the code to measure the hail falling through that volume of light, and it's going to advance the science of better hail mitigation. Like, oh my
Yep.
goodness, video is important. So
It
we're going to
is.
attack it from a video perspective first. A lot of challenges. How do you navigate the winds at around 400 feet because that's the
Yeah.
FAA limit. Um, and staying south. Greg Nordstrom's, and I can say this is my show, his ass slogan.
Yeah.
And Barrett,
Always
what
stay
why
south.
say it ass? Always stay south. And I'm
Yep.
gonna get t-shirts. I'm gonna do it. I have to have
We
t-shirts.
got to get them done for out there this year when we all go out there together.
We got to have a clever way to put ass on our shirts without it being problematic. Always stay south because it's true. If you stay south
Yep.
of the supercell
Always.
and east, so
Yeah.
that the thing
South
can
and
go
east.
by you, because you don't want to get in this situation, the precip and the hail. We
No.
got to avoid that. And you don't want to get in the rear flank downdraft because you're going to have a bad day.
Yeah. You're going to have a really bad day, as a
There
lot
I
of us
am.
learned this past year in Seymour, Texas.
Right. I just popped back up. How about that? I want to get into my background and we'll click none. There's my background. And there's CJ again. All right, so share the screen just to finish this up. I'll put a link to this in today's video once we're all done with the live. Really neat stuff. NSSL advances tornado research with uncrewed aircraft systems. What do you guys think
Yep.
about this up on the YouTubes? Um, let's see. Just seeing. I watch Reed Timmer. Who doesn't, Karen? Exactly. He is. I met him back in 2005. Story for another day. But for Hurricane Rita, he was out there in Beaumont, Texas. He was still a student, and I think I offered him like $100 to come help me because I was by myself set out these cameras in and around Port Arthur and whatever, and they couldn't leave their group. They were down there with OU. That's what you call it, right? Oklahoma University or whatever. Isn't it
Yep.
called OU?
OU, University of Oklahoma. Boomer.
And they couldn't. They couldn't break off. They wanted to.
Mm-mm.
Reed was part of that. I think he's in one of my videos
He
on
might be.
the Rita documentary. Um, anyway, so I'll put a link to this in today's video. So look, I want to show y'all something. Speaking of video and 360 and whatnot. So I've showed this before. Um, it jumped ahead. It is giving away the surprise. Um, we've been using 360 video since. So oh, I see why it's doing that because I'm dragging on the screen. We've been using 360 video since 2020. Didn't really know what we had until last year, 2024, when I started the hail stuff and got out there. And I've showed this before. This is the Seneca, Nebraska supercell. There's me setting up the look. I look so happy, don't I? Um, monster hail, whatever. Anyway, I
That's
discovered
prairie
yesterday
madness.
that right that my editing software that I use from Adobe had an upgrade and it allows me to edit 360 video. So now I can finally do that. This is just a very tiny test and that's it. That's the tweet as they say. So I am very excited that I'm going to be able to go into my 360 videos and annotate them, stitch them together, add narration, music, and put together different clips from different storms. And finally, I was talking to CJ about this before we went live today. Next year, I intend to put out a bunch of these in short form, 8 to 10 minutes, fairly short, and then hopefully do some 360 documentaries where the whole thing, probably 20 minutes in length at max, is in 360 VR complete with titles and annotations and music and narration and transitions. Oh, finally with Adobe Premiere Elements, which is what I use. Little things excite me, CJ. I was so excited when I upgraded and it worked and the workflow makes sense and whatever. I'm like, all right, finally.
Right.
Because the world of 360, I love it on my VR. Um, you got to get Courtney to get you an Oculus for Christmas.
Right.
It's really, really neat. It's a different way of looking at stuff. And
It
so
is.
look forward to that on our YouTube channel in the coming months as I go in and re-edit some of these 360 videos with annotation. And I can cut them down to where you could just see highlights instead of the whole 8 minutes. Oh, very cool stuff for Tech Tuesday, part two, so to speak, the 360 video editing. So I think before
Absolutely.
we go, anything you want to add before I jump into the rumors of storm segment?
Not much. I think that we hit the nail on the head here. I think that there's going to be a lot of opportunities coming up as we get into severe weather season for some really interesting deployments out there
Yeah.
to the plains. I think that, you know, for folks that are really interested in the science, this is a good it's a good time to be in meteorology.
Oh yeah, especially the operational stuff out there and field research.
Hmm.
Really excited about what NSSL is doing. Oh, real quick, speaking of Stan Goldenberg at HRD, I'm going to be setting up with him soon a time to come down to Miami in January and do a seminar at HRD about the last 20
Awesome.
years of work in hurricanes and some of our UAS stuff and the weather balloon and so forth. So maybe when I do that, you can make a trip to Miami and sit in on that.
Absolutely. It's only 3 hours,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
close.
Yes. All right, let's get to the last segment of each show. Rumors of storms. I heard it through the algorithm. We want to get ahead of that if we can and sort of beat it to the punch to explain what somebody might be sharing. If you ever see one of those 300, like 20-hour forecast of a giant hurricane off Miami or whatever, a big
Yep.
blizzard off of the benchmark, where does that come from? What's the context behind it? Well, we already went over the first week. Now let's go beyond that time frame and see if anything jumps out. It always does that during the show because we go into the 12Z run. There we go.
Right.
Um, go out beyond a week. So at about 200 and something hours, that's a pretty good little shortwave coming in with some rain
Yep.
and storminess all along the East Coast from the Big Bend and the Gulf all the way up to Maine.
Yeah.
But I
Wow.
wouldn't call that like a big blockbuster storm.
No.
Yeah, so we don't have one just yet. That's day 10 basically. And then again, around the 20th, it's almost a blank map.
Yeah.
Just
It's crazy.
it is. And then more lake snows. Look at those bands. So
Yep.
yeah, you mentioned that earlier. That one even comes across several of the Great Lakes.
Hmm.
But really nothing all the way out to Christmas to suggest any kind of a social media storm, right? Another, hype storm, whatever, that just gets the YouTube and the Instagram and the TikTok flowing with algorithmically shared nonsense that look at that massive storm, it's just one model run 336 hours out. We don't see anything
Yeah.
like that. So far so good. We're safe, marked safe from the algorithm. All right, I think that's about it for today. Yeah, so we'll get back to the title page and we'll get ready to sign off. So we covered a lot in a pretty short amount of
We
time.
did.
Nice. The NSSL thing, I'm very, very excited about that. I can't wait to delve into that,
Likewise.
get in touch with some people that are doing some things with that. Um,
We got
figure
to
out,
make it there for a tour of the National Weather Center when we're out there next.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
still on the bucket list.
I've been there once with Greg and Carrie, I think
Right.
in 2019 or 16, 19, I don't know, but we were out there
Something
one
like that.
time. They have this gigantic globe that's like projection with all the weather on it.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And I remember I looked at like, how much does one of those cost? And it's like, don't ask. If you have to ask, you can't afford it.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
Well, CJ, thanks for hanging out with me today on Talking Weather. I
Absolutely. Thanks for
appreciate it.
having me.
I'll be back tomorrow. It's whatever Wednesday. I'll figure out something interesting to talk about, and we'll keep moving forward. All right. I appreciate everybody
Absolutely.
tuning in. I'll drop my video first, leave the audio up. I am Mark Sudduth. That's CJ Morgan. We are Talking Weather, and I will see you again tomorrow.
Thanks, y'all. Have a good one.
Bye.